Okay, so what's good, internet? We're PHS Music Journalism. I'm Kamal Perdana. I'm a junior.
I'm Abhinav Kataru. I'm a junior too.
And I'm Jackson Buring. I'm a junior.
So basically, PHS Music Journalism, we're this club. From we're this club from Penn High School, and we're trying to give students sort of like a platform to voice their opinions on music. And what we have today is a review on Tyler, the Creator's new album, IGOR. And so, what are you guys' thoughts on it?
All around, I think this album, if it proved anything, proves that, rappers can stretch out and move into like new kind of fields that like conventionally like rappers, like if we think about like Wolf and like his earlier works, they're like really rap heavy bass, they're like crude, they're like raw, and he kind of like transitioned over this period from like Flower Boy to being kind of like a balance of the two to this one, which is like purely like just like soul, like instrumental. Like it's kind of like what people have been saying, like character development. Like we see like his maturation and his like experimentation into like new stretches. He's moving into like R&B, if we can even call that R&B. It's not even conventional R&B. It's more like, experimental techno vibe. It's just like a Tyler album. It's not a rap album. It's not an R&B album. It's just like a pure Tyler album.
And yeah, this is like definitely like top two in my opinion for Tyler's discography. I'm not sure if I can say it's like his best album because it just came out, and that's kind of like a preposterous statement to say like it's his best album. Maybe like I'd get a lot of flack for that probably, but like it definitely has like all of the aspects that I like about Tyler condensed into like one album. Like you have like the off-kilter production from like Cherry Bomb, but you also have like the mature like focused themes from Flower Boy, and yeah, it just makes for like a very solid album. It's consistent throughout. I don't think I outright disliked any songs. Like it was very consistent throughout. Yeah.
I thought it was a really high concept album, especially like kind of compared to Flower Boy and such, and you kind of see his growth. Even though it is more similar to Flower Boy compared to some of his earlier works, you see it kind of a maturity and combining all of the different works that he's had, such as Cherry Bomb and Flower Boy.
So should we go track by track now?
All right, track by track. So first track, Igor's theme. So what do you guys think about it?
Right away, I thought it reminded me a lot of some Kanye, I guess, with, you have the bass
Yeezus
coming in.
vibes.
Yeah,
Yeezus vibes.
right away. And I was just really surprised by it because it's very different than anything he's really had before, obviously. But it kind of set the tone and mood for the rest of the album.
Yeah, I definitely did sense the Yeezus vibes. The first track, Igor's theme, is really like the first track of Yeezus, which is On Sight. They both start out with like these blaring synths. And actually, I didn't listen to this album, like I didn't listen to it first with two headphones or with two earbuds in because my other ones were like jank. So, and I didn't bring my other ones to the volunteering place. So I listened to it and I immediately knew like I'm not gonna get the full effect if I don't listen to this with two earbuds. So after listening to it again, like as soon as I put the earbuds in, I'm like, this is it. It's like an immersive kind of track where you're just kind of like, it's kind of like a teaser to like what you're about to experience, like just pure immersion and like raw kind of like feeling and emotion.
Honestly, for me, like the first track didn't really do too much. Like it set the tone and everything, but like as far as lyrics goes, it was like kind of repetitive. Like in the context of like listening to the entire album, like it makes like the listening experience way better, but like I wouldn't listen to the song like outside of listening to this album. But it's still a pretty good track, nonetheless. So next track, Earthquake. Where should we start first? Cardi verse?
I mean, I think Cardi
Dude,
verse should save the best for the end.
Oh, okay.
So I think do you wanna? Like, I mean, Cardi verse was really good, but I think we should get the Tyler verse out of the way. Yeah. Tyler verse was definitely strong, definitely set the vibe, and it did set the stage. It like led up to the Cardi verse. It was like a nice like build up. And then it would like the let out, like the euphoria kind of like set in at like the Cardi verse.
Yeah, Tyler has nice vocals throughout this album, like on this song too. Yeah.
I think this song might have been even though no song in this album is a single by itself, this would be the most radio friendly
Yeah.
one, just because I
Yeah.
think he knows this, you know, because we saw him make the music video or whatever, like yesterday, I think it was, that it came out, and I think he's just trying to have this be a single as well.
All right, so we're gonna talk about that
Cardi
Cardi
verse,
verse
take it
now?
away, man.
All right. So that Cardi verse, Hida Fajita. It was so hard. Okay, like, I'm biased because I'm kind of a Cardi stan, but the Cardi verse, like, surprisingly, okay, on paper, this should not work out. Like, Cardi on a Tyler track, and like, when I was on my Apple Music, like, scrolling through the lyrics at the bottom, and I saw, like, the Cardi verse, I was like, this is not it. This is not gonna be it. But actually, like, he kind of uses, like, the baby voice, quote unquote, that from Die Lit, and it's actually, like, the verse was actually, like, kind of beautiful. It was kind of nice. The only thing I didn't like about it was, like, the Whoa Vicky line.
Yeah,
It's kinda
it's
cringe.
kind of cringy.
But no, that's it. Yeah, it's a pretty nice song.
Yeah.
Pretty nice song.
And I liked how like the soul vibe like kind of stopped there, and it was just like the two chords during the Cardi verse. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Oh,
it was just
yeah.
like the two kind of synths like in the background, and then like the Cardi verse was like loud compared to like the Tyler verse, which was like with a lot of instruments and stuff like that. So I thought that was good too.
Yeah. What's the next track? Oh, I think. All right, yeah. So
It kind of sets a different tone from the next one, I thought. Like, it has more of like a bump to it in a different way.
oh, I think the one with like the rolling drums in the background. I think yeah.
Honestly, I really liked the background, the Cali
The Cali vocals.
the Cali vocals, and then just like the hook. Like I think I'm falling in love. That part was really good. Again, like these chords are like really like ambient, and they set like a completely like new tone. Like there's nothing.
Oh,
it
wait.
cleanses your palate.
Hold
kinda thing.
up. Actually, it's not Cali. It's actually Solange.
Oh.
How do you feel about that?
Oh,
How do you feel about that?
I mean, is it actually?
Bro, it's actually Solange.
Oh, okay. I mean, separate art from the artist. But
Wait, you don't know about the Solange thing?
No.
She slapped Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. I mean, hey, separate the art from the artist. Those were definitely good vocals, but I still like
I
Jay-Z.
think I'm falling in
Yeah.
love. What you think, Jackson?
I mean, I think this song is the start of like this theme of love throughout it. You know, he's saying, I think I'm falling in love or whatever, so it's early on in whatever relationship that he's referencing, versus later on we see kind of him moving past whoever the girl is.
Yeah.
What was the next track?
Oh, the next track.
The next track is the interlude. So.
Oh yeah, what you end up exactly
Running
what
from-
you run from, you end up chasing. Not much to say.
Not much to
Just
say,
like
just
15
an interlude.
seconds long.
Good interlude though, because
But, like-
it sets like, oh yeah, because this is right after he says, I think I'm falling in love. I guess the next track, Running Out of Time, is I guess when he's with his lover. So like this transition in between is kind of like he was like running from like, because we were talking about like how he was like desperate, right? And so he was desperate, and then now he's like falling into love. And he's like kind of like almost like, I think falling into love in this sense is kind of like he's like actually like literally falling into it. He's like pulling himself into that. And then what he was running from before, maybe like if this is some type of like lingering feeling from like Flower Boy, maybe like he was with like he didn't like a certain type of person, and now he does, like exactly what he ran from before is now what he's chasing, kind of thing.
Yeah, how I interpret it is like he's running from being lonely, and then like in the end he ends up being in that exact same circumstance where he has to say goodbye to a serious lover. So conceptually, like this interlude is actually pretty significant. Like he uses like the concept of running either literally or physically, like in the beginning track, Igor's theme, but also in the next track, Running Out of Time, and a few more times. So pretty clever, Tyler, pretty clever. Next track.
Yeah.
Running Out of Time. Okay, what do we think
Alright.
about this?
What do you think about it? This is your favorite track.
Oh
right?
yeah, this is my favorite track. Okay, this is my favorite track. Dude, Tyler's vocals on this song are so beautiful, and it complements like the instrumental too. Like there's just like I haven't done band in a while, but I think like the term is like scale. There's just like this like synth scale in the background, like doo 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 doo. And it, dude, it's so fire, bro. It's Hida Fajita, bro. And like the motive, like running out of time to make you love me, like that had me crying over girlfriends I don't have. Like it's so fire, it's so powerful. Yeah, that's it.
Basically, yeah.
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 Yeah,
Next
yeah.
track.
Oh,
Track
just
number 6.
track number 6.
New Magic Wand.
Also,
Oh.
also, by the way, like this next like 4 song stretch is so good. Like from track 5 to track like 8, so good, so good. Okay,
In my
so-
opinion, I'd say like kind of track 8 to the end is like where I find the
So, like the
highlights.
second half.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
New
that's-
Magic
that's-
Wand, I think I remember I was listening to in the car the first time, and when the beat comes in on that, it just kind of takes it to another level, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
it really
yeah.
like got me at first. And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah,
like,
he starts off softer, and then like the beat switches, and like it gets way more intense, and like he goes hard with the bars. But oh yeah, Rocky makes an appearance on the song with the hook like New Magic Wand, and
It's interesting how he decides to use Rocky, but then kind of mixes his voice so that it doesn't even really sound like Rocky to a certain point. But yeah.
yeah, Tyler does a really good job of like including people for his tracks. Like he acknowledges that he should partition like certain like roles to different people who can do it better than him.
He knows
Like-
that his voice isn't as strong as some other people, or that
Yeah,
his
he knows
voice
the
wouldn't be
limitations
used
of
Yeah,
it
he's
as well.
trying to look for people who can like emulate his vision as well as like do their own vision, you know, kind of like contribute to the album with their own kind of individuality.
Rather than highlight himself,
Yeah.
he wants the best sound and the best music out of it, so he uses other people to achieve that.
And thematically too, the song's pretty clever. Like New Magic Wand. This is also like another one of like the desperation songs. Where like like the past 3 have been like he's like really desperately trying to get this person to love him. In New Magic Wand, like he goes so far as to say like he's talking about like this tension between him and this person he's in a relationship with, and he goes as far as to say that he'll kill this person and their ex to sort of like release this tension, and like in theory like this new magic wand is supposed to be like a metaphor for a gun.
Okay, it might be kind of dark, but I feel like there's a little bit of this idea that like he feels at some point he's gonna move on or mess something up. So like the idea of like running out of time and stuff, and like what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
This idea that like he's not gonna truly be in love, and that this is just like a passing relationship, and at some point he's gonna be moving on, I guess.
Yeah, and this kind of theme about like desperation and love continues on to the next song. We want to move into the next song.
Sure.
All right,
A Boy's a Gun.
Boys are good.
This is probably my third favorite
Really?
song.
See, okay,
Dude, I really like this 4-song stretch. But
I like every song on this album. Out of all the songs, though, this may be my least favorite, just because I think it starts out really good, but then it kind of stretches on, while a lot of other songs kind of leave me wanting more. By the end of this one, I don't really.
Oh,
need...
you sort of think like it overstays its welcome.
Yeah,
the
I
song?
guess.
Okay.
Yeah, but
What do you think, Abhinav?
So there was that feature. I mean, no, not the feature. The sample, and that sample. That
Oh,
was
the
that's
Kanye
been,
sample,
it was
right?
Kanye
Or-
sample. I mean, Kanye
Yeah.
did use the sample. Yeah, it was the
I'm
bounce
bound to,
sample.
yeah.
And yeah, that was my favorite sample for like a long time when I listened to Bound 2 for the first time. And like I like how he used it. I thought like I heard it and I'm like, he's not gonna use this as well. Like how can you like, you know, outperform like Kanye? He definitely knows that he's using the same sample as Kanye, right? And he actually did like really well with it. I thought he really utilized that that middle part of the sample with like the kids' voices. I think he utilized that pretty well to like accentuate like the concept of the album. Again, you said it was like high concept. I think that part was like adding to like again like this soul vibe, like this immersion vibe, just to keep adding instrumentals and load that, and then to rap over that is I think that's pretty genius actually.
Yeah, I love the sample, and also thematically the song's pretty clever too, cause like it plays off the phrase. Well, obviously it plays off the phrase a girl is a gun, and that's supposed to be like a phrase about like girl empowerment, like or women empowerment. Like you shouldn't underestimate women. Like they're capable of like they shouldn't be underestimated. They're capable of being quote unquote dangerous, right? But in this song, he applies that to like he alludes to being in love with this male lover and saying that his relationship with this other person is dangerous, as in like the boy he is with is a gun. He is dangerous to his reputation, to his life. And by the end of the song, he concedes that this gun or person is too dangerous for him, and like So like already we're seeing a transition from like in the beginning he was like so desperate for love, but now he's seeing like the repercussions.
You've seen the issues that
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
love with whoever the guy is has caused, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, all right, next song.
Puppet. Ooh.
Puppet. All right, so Kanye, Omari West, pure vocals. Liked it a lot. Honestly, just solid feature from Kanye. Like just to get that out of the way. Like, and people are saying it's quiet. People are saying like, but we need to realize like Tyler had a creative vision, and he put this creative vision in, and it still has to be like heavy with these instrumentals, with these like synths and stuff. And I feel like, frankly, like it felt almost like Kanye was like speaking into like an ocean, or speaking into some like broad landscape, right?
Huh.
It was kind of like he's far away. He's far away, and he's trying to convey something,
just-
right?
What
And
re-
what?
Yeah,
What
you
would
can talk.
You can go ahead.
What really stuck out to me was the chorus. I just really got vibing to that chorus, I guess.
Oh yeah, this is the song where he's like, "I'm a puppet, you can control me." Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like the concept of that.
It was
Dude,
a-
Kanye vocals were so godly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
some people may say that was too short, but like I feel like it was succinct and like the message was potent. So like, what did he talk about? He talked about like Nas,
A's and B's.
A's and B's,
Z's?
A to Z, something like that. But it was still it was pretty godly.
Mm.
Yeah, should we move on to the next song?
Yeah.
What's good?
Yeah,
Oh,
what's
this was
good?
like the very rap driven one with like the beat switch where like it gets aggressive in the second half.
It kind of reminded me of some of his older
Like
stuff.
Wolf?
Versus,
Yeah, like Wolf.
Definitely.
I think that this doesn't. I mean, I feel like it does fit with like the whole synths part of the album, but
With the experimental side.
yeah, it's like it's not too experimental. It's very conventional. By the time you get to the end, like the whole Dracula part, that's just like kind of like that is what people have been doing for a long time. And again, it was kicked off by like people like Kanye and like Yeezus and stuff like that. And then it was like extended through, kind of like this the drill movements too. Like it's kind of what we've been hearing for a long time in like the hip hop industry. I feel like if Earthquake wasn't on radio, then this would be on radio. If we're talking about IGOR, like this is the second most radio playable song, if not number one. Like I mean, not radio, but like more like mainstream. This is pretty mainstream just because it's more conventional. But I feel like the lyricism itself was kind of deviating away from like the whole like production heavy and moving more into like Wolf style stuff.
I still think it's a pretty good song though. Like he has some nice lyricism, but like in terms of like it doesn't really fit in well with the rest of the track list. Definitely.
It's definitely like a darker and like kind of has a grime influence to it. It sounds more like his Wolf type stuff than it doesn't really take from Flower Boy like a lot of the other ones. And I think that's kind of from partly a lack of features that he uses throughout the album that we see more on Flower Boy. He does though have like some good lines, like when he comes in with Dracula, and the beat kind of comes in. I think it moves the song along well. So.
All right. So next track, Gone Gone Thank You.
This is a long one, and this is also I feel like this is the climax of the entire
It's like the
album.
peak. So this song, like, I found it really interesting from the start how he uses his voice throughout. He really mixes it up. So like at the start, it's more
Super light.
yeah, high pitched, light, in
Super
this way.
upbeat.
And then later on in the song, he goes to more of like a Wolf style rapping, deep voice and such. But then even in the back, he's still using his voice and others to add more layers, I guess.
Yeah, I like both halves of this song. Like the first half was kind of, or like the second, I guess both halves were like sort of coming to term with like the state of his relationship or whatever, and how it's like kind of going bad. And at the end, he even says like thank you for all the time we spent. So he's like conceding that there was merit to him being with this relationship with this other person. But he also follows that up, like, I think with, I think I'm never gonna fall in love again, so he's kind of bitter about it.
Again, I felt like this was the climax of the album. I felt like everything really came together here, and there was really like a sense of like he was kind of like looking into himself, I guess, and he was kind of thinking like, what do I really want? And there were some lines about blueprints, like my blueprint is
different from
than yours,
yours.
yeah. And like I guess he was like kind of like thinking about he was out of the euphoria of like a relationship, of like the passionate time of like love, and he was kind of like reevaluating everything and seeing like am I really like what am I really doing now? And then he came to terms and he said, kind of, I'm not for you. Thank you for everything you've done, but like this is not what I want, and ultimately this is not gonna work.
And
out.
the beginning of the song almost feels like triumphant, like where he's just like, it feels like summer, and like his beat is like, I mean not his beat, his voice is like super like light and upbeat, so it almost feels like he's like kind of liberated now that he thinks of his relationship in a different way, now that he's like come to terms that it's bad. He might as well just let go of it. It's fairly positive song. Well, not really thematically. It's still kind of bleak, but like in comparison to the other songs, like the previous songs before this, like Running Out of Time, like Puppet, like they were so like those were like that was like Tyler in his like moments of desperation, like New Magic Wand. Like he was really desperate to sort of get this relationship to where he wanted it to be, and now he's like sort of coming to terms with it. And
emotionally, I think he's kind of confused on this song. I guess most likely this is when he had just broken up with whoever he was with, and I think he doesn't fully know if like that was the right decision or like how he really feels about it. In some ways, he's bringing in these ideas of like summer and good things where it's like now I'm free kind of, but then he's also saying I'll never love again in a way, and I think
and he's super bitter about it.
He's
despite all the
emotionally
good things
doesn't know what
says.
to feel totally, and so he has a lot of these different things coming in, and he, like I said earlier, he uses a lot of different voices in here, so I think those mix together to kind of show all the emotions and feelings in his head.
Alright, next track, I Don't Love You Anymore.
So the repeating phrase of I don't love you anymore is kind of the highlight of this song to me, and really one of the best moments to me on the album. It just really comes in nicely, and it's perfect timing, I guess.
Yeah, really interesting, like sort of like bizarre vocals from Ryan Beatty's, like I don't love you anymore. And he says it like really like whimsically and sort of like immature,
but it
like
works well. I think.
Yeah, sort of like a kid in a tantrum or something. But it fits really nice with like how like prior, like in the previous track Gone he's sort of like almost come to terms, but this shows like he's almost relapsing, and he's like I don't know how to move on. He explicitly says like what do I do, move on. And
it's interesting that you say that. In some ways it's kind of like a childish remark of like I don't love you anymore, like he's trying to almost throw away any emotion
he's trying to like
feelings he had for whoever. I think he's kind of he hasn't really come to terms with what this means moving on, and I think he's
I kind of feel like that highlights like his mental distress in like the moment. Like I feel like he has like these opposing views of like everything on someone, and I guess this is like how he feels after he's like left. Like he's like I don't love you anymore, but they're like high pitched, and they're clearly like discomforting, right? These are not like sonically like nice to hear, but like they fit because it's kind of like this is like it's like this kind of state of like chaos that's in his mind at the moment, and like this kind of perpetuates, and like he has these like immature thoughts, he has these like kind of like logical thoughts, he just has like a bunch of feelings like going back and forth, and I think that's what the song really is about.
And as usual, the production's super nice, like that guitar in the background, pretty nice.
I feel like we've kind of forgotten about like the beat on this definitely, and like Kamal said, the production in the background.
Production everywhere, stellar.
But this song really has strong vibes to it.
Yeah. Next track, Are We Still Friends?
Honestly, I feel like this is my second favorite song on the album, second to Puppet, but still, like this was like a really, really good like conclusive track. Like it just ended everything off on like, it wasn't a happy note, it wasn't a sad note, there was
somewhere
no,
in between.
Yeah, there was no like protagonist, antagonist, nothing like that. It was just kind of like, we're gonna settle it on like a chaotic state, and that's it, and that's how it's gonna be. But we're gonna set it off on like kind of like a pleasant note, at least. If it's not good or bad or strong or weak, it's gonna be a pleasant note, and I'm gonna be still asking questions, I'm still gonna be confused, I'm still gonna be asking like, are we still friends? But that's just how it's gonna be, and that's how it's, and until the next album comes out, we're not gonna know how we've progressed. This is just how we're gonna end it off for now.
And like the beat, despite like the mixed emotions, definitely like the mixed, like thematically it's very mixed, right? But like the beat, it feels like very triumphant, like with like continuing from the last song, like there's guitars in the back again, and also like it's sort of like also the vocals. I'm not quite sure who does the background vocals on this song, but like the the "Are we still friends" part, it doesn't come off as like entirely sad, but it also doesn't come off entirely like happy or satisfied, right?
And it's interesting that you bring up like the triumph part because I feel like he's more triumphant about the fact that, you know, he's accepting himself rather than that he's in this bad situation, because obviously he is in a bad situation, like, you know, he's like in like a mentally like kind of not okay state, but like he's kind of accepting it. And I feel like that acceptance is like what the triumph is like really like coming from.
The sound of the song is definitely different than. What did he say?
Should we pause it? Yeah. All right, so we got kicked out.
Hey
of
guys, so we have a new
Disneyland.
album coming out.
Stop.
My parents came home, so now we have to be down here.
Should we continue where we left
Yeah,
off
yeah.
for the last track?
So yeah, so this was my favorite song on the album. It's really different than the rest of them. It has more of like a soul feature feeling, I guess, to it, with like almost like an older feeling to it, and it's less like, I guess it uses different instruments in a different way.
Yeah. So I think we can move into the conclusion analysis part. So personally, I feel like this is really stretching the boundaries. I feel like the people who are going into this kind of IGOR like vibe, like this kind of synthy place, I feel like the people who are venturing into there are like, I think the two people really are like Kanye and Cardi. Like, I mean, that is like a strong like
Kanye
contrast.
and Cardi? Okay.
Kanye and Cardi, I mean,
Okay.
they are the primary people, not the only people, but they're the primary people going into this like synthy heavy kind of like if you listen to like 30 Hours, right? Even 30 Hours, which doesn't have the synth vibe, right? It's just an ad-lib track. It's just a completely like, it just sets the scene kind of thing. Like, it's like, it doesn't just matter about lyricism, it doesn't just matter about what we say, it matters about like the production, it matters like to set the tone. Like basically this whole immersive quality is being set by like Kanye, Cardi, and then there are a few people like Uzi is going into this area, Rocky is going into this area, and I think that's why he kind of featured these people on this too. Like I think honestly Cardi and Kanye were the best features because they all have the same vision for like this immersive kind of vibe.
I agree with you, this immersive production idea, like really taking that from Kanye and Cardi and such, but I think he also takes this to a different level with influences from Flower Boy and Tyler.
Yeah, he
and
takes
all
like the
this
best
stuff.
of both worlds of Cherry Bomb and
Flower
Flower
Boy.
It's
Boy.
his
Yeah.
own version of
Yeah.
this immersive production style with synths and all this stuff.
It is his own style, but it is his own style. I'm not denying that, but there's a lot of people going into this style. There's like it's almost like an empty canvas, right? And the people painting this empty canvas for like the hip hop community, I feel like Tyler, Kanye, and Cardi are really doing it for this kind of new immersive type of thing.
And I guess kind of agreeing with you. Like I think you even mentioned it earlier. One of the songs that we were saying really sounded like Kanye, but there is that difference with making it less clear, more clear, or adding in different ad libs and different kind of things, and really having that Tyler appeal and that kind of uniqueness there.
Yeah.
If I were to give this a rating, I'd give it a 9. What about you guys?
I'd give it an 8.5.
I'd probably give it like a 9.2.
Yeah, pretty fire, pretty heat of a heat.
Pretty good.
I for me the highlights were running out of time. Puppet. Let me look through the notes.
I guess for me,
Oh wait, my phone's dead.
Here.
Oh
Yeah, we're running out of time on that phone.
we run out of time on the phone.
Yeah.
Definitely my personal highlights. It's definitely gonna change a lot, right? But right now, running out of time is definitely my favorite song. A Boy's a Gun probably second, Puppet third, Gone Gone Thank You fourth. Those are 4 highlights for me.
For me, I would say Running Out of Time would definitely be up there. New Magic Wand, just with that beat. I Don't Love You Anymore, and then really Are We Still Friends is probably my favorite because it just so well ends the album. It's a song that you feel triumphant, as we've said, but it's a song that you feel like, you know, after like a long drive that you're just coming home to kind of things, and you've really moved on past the emotional experience.
Yeah, so I think my favorites right now I think the two that really stand out to me are Puppet and Are We Still Friends? And I like all the other ones like a lot. But I feel like these two really stood out to me. These are like the highlights of the album. And just in general, like I love outros. Like I just want to see like it's kind of like their last message to the world before they like release another album. It's kind of like what do you have to say before like you go off the map, off the production map for like a few years, right? And so that's why I like Are You Still Friends? I feel like it really did meet the criteria for that. And I feel like overall it was great. I feel like there were no bad tracks.
I think as a trend, I thought the second half of the album was even stronger than the first.
Same,
Don't get me
yeah.
wrong, the first was really good,
Mhm.
but I feel like in the second he really found what he fully wanted to do with his album, and the theme of the album really develops, and we really see the shift in like confused emotions. You know, things aren't clear cut and such.
So to kind of, I mean, this is
Less
probably
words.
immature at this point, but like if we were to rank, like right now based on like first listens, if we were to rank, how would you guys rank?
I don't think I can rank it. I'd
You
have
don't
to
think
let
you
it
can
settle a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now it's definitely top 2. I don't know what
Yeah.
to put number 1.
It's definitely top 2 for me. I would like to see how it matures kind of with time. It would be hard for me right now to say it's better than Flower Boy, but I could totally see it doing that because in a lot of ways it's a more advanced Tyler.
Yeah, I definitely I think it's for me it's also a competition between Flower Boy and Igor, because with Cherry Bomb I really like the production of Cherry Bomb, but for me this album was like a much more mature Cherry Bomb with like all of the production was just way more accessible. It took like the very experimental vibe of Cherry Bomb and sort of like toned it down a bit to where it's still creative. It still has a lot of character, but it was just a lot more listenable for me.
Tyler.
So for me, it's like between Flower Boy and Igor for number 1. But
I'd say for me it's between, honestly, I think for me it's between Cherry Bomb and Igor because I really like Cherry Bomb. Again, Yeezus is my favorite album of all time, and I really found a lot of. I mean, the thing is, I don't compare everything to Yeezus, obviously, but like the synths, I really like the synths. Like synths in like any song, like that techno feel. It's like almost like therapeutic, even though it's not supposed to be. It's kind of like, it's kind of just like a vibe. It's like the most vibiest vibe. It's just like pure synth, and I feel like that's why I really like Cherry Bomb. And the thing is, the lyrics weren't mature. Like I'll give it that. But the thing is, they weren't mature because they were a reflection of like how Tyler was at that point, and I really like seeing how like I really like seeing like a reflection of people's minds, whether it be crude or whether it be like you know a little bit better or pleasant. So I'd say for me it's between Igor and Cherry Bomb, but don't get me wrong, I really like Flower Boy too.
Yeah. I guess
I retract my statement about it being between Flower Boy and Igor, because now that I think about it, actually, like Cherry Bomb was sort of like immature, quote unquote immature Tyler at its most like refined and like concise, because even though the lyrics were immature and the production was all over the place, like I don't think necessarily that's a bad thing. But still, I'd say I don't know. Tyler's discography.
I'm still keeping Flower Boy and Igor as my top 2, but I guess for me, final thoughts. I think Tyler Creator always showed that he was a really strong artist and such, but I think lately, and with this album, he really shows his musical genius, and really, it will be interesting to see if he can keep getting better, because honestly, that's where he's headed.
And like coming into this album, like I honestly, everybody was super hyped up about it, and I wasn't sure how to feel. Like I didn't really come in with any expectations, but it really blew my mind. Like it was actually like so good. Like
I honestly,
super fire.
Yeah, I thought Flower Boy was gonna kind of be his peak. It was just so different than his old works, and I kind of saw it as, you know, this is his maturity. This is where we see him kind of ending. This is like his conclusion basically. But I think Igor really shows that he's still advancing, still getting better. Still utilizing his old tools and tricks from old albums and putting it into new ways to really advance not only his own work, but really music as a whole.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I think the future of Tyler looks good. So with that, I think we're gonna end. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Uh,
PHS
yep.
music journalism, we outie.